So this is a brief video to talk a little bit about the field of anthropology, at least introduce it to the class and hopefully clear up some of the issues that you might have with some of the questions in the prep guide. So anthropology is the study of people, study of human beings, and so on. And we divided that up into four broad categories: physical anthropology, archaeology, linguistic anthropology, and cultural anthropology. So physical anthropology, one example of that would be the studying primate behavior, what a primatologist does. And we study primate behavior because they're closest relatives in the evolutionary bush, and by understanding what they do, we might gain some insight into what we do, and so on. Archaeology, an example of an archaeologist, what they do is they go on digs. They're the ones that are in caves, generally speaking. That's an example of an archaeologist, finding human remains, digging out garbage pits, excavating burial sites or housing remains or something like that. The video that I wanted you to watch, Tim Scarlett talks about himself as an industrial archaeologist. So archaeology starts from 300,000-400,000 years ago, all the way up to the present. I mean, we're uncovering the features of human culture and human beings, that just happened recently. So archaeologists don't have to study the old; they can study things that are relatively new. Linguistic anthropology is the study of language, and so you can study ancient languages through a number of different means. Cultural anthropology is the study of cultures, largely contemporary cultures, and so on. We'll talk a little bit more about cultural anthropology in a bit. So physical anthropology is the study of humans as biological organisms, including evolution and contemporary variation. So this includes primatology, paleoanthropology, and biological variation, including genetics. So genetics we can see as sort of an outgrowth of physical anthropology. Paleoanthropology is the study of the fossil record, including primates or the various remains of human-like creatures that we found, human-like species, our ancestors probably, Neanderthals, Lucy, so on and so forth. So the study of archaeology is the study of the old. That's what archaeology means, but we're limited to human beings or human cultures or closely related ones. Again, as I said earlier, it covers a period of about 300,000 years ago to the present. There's prehistoric archaeology. This is before human written records, and historical archaeology, which is after written records, and it depends on the culture you're studying or the people that you're studying as to whether it's historic or prehistoric. Linguistic anthropology is the study of language or communication, and there are a number of different subdisciplines in linguistic anthropology: historical linguistics, descriptive linguistics, and sociolinguistics, and these are study the change over time in relationships between languages, and that would be called historical linguistics. Differences in the structure of languages is descriptive linguistics, and then the social context of language and communication is what we call sociolinguistics. So those give you a rough idea of what linguistic and linguistic anthropology is. So we know that anthropology is the study of people, but the questions that anthropologists ask, like from where did these people come, and what did they make, and what did they eat, and how did they communicate, and what do they value, these questions are going to be answered in different ways depending on the different subfields in anthropology. So now the subfields might talk about a particular area, but they're going to answer these questions in somewhat different ways. So these subfields of anthropology, you can take on the view of any of these subfields to answer these particular questions. So anthropology isn't a set in stone kind of a discipline. You can answer questions from a variety of different ways. So hopefully that gave you a good introduction to what anthropology is. I'm going to go into a little bit of cultural anthropology in a bit, and then do a little lecture on cultural relativism. So you should look forward to viewing those videos as well. Talk to you soon.